Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, dislike sources. I'm useful idiot. Welcome. And today I want to talk about Pakistan. And this isn't a huge story right now, but it's something that I want to keep my eye on. I think everybody who's a geopolitical fan needs to keep their eye on things that happen in Pakistan. As I've mentioned on a few occasions in the past, but Pakistan is potentially the most dangerous country in the world. The fact that they have such an unstable history, the fact that they are loaded with nuclear weapons, the fact that they have a gigantic intelligence apparatus and military, and they also have a rabid Islamic underclass, not meaning to characterize necessarily Muslims as rabid, but there is a potentially easily radicalized lower class system in Pakistan that has the potential to be exploited, and makes it for a very dangerous situation. But overall, the military has kept a handle on things there, surprisingly enough, and they continue to work with the United States and work against the United States. As we already know, Pakistan both supports and let's just say elements inside Pakistani intelligence and military work with the militants and the Taliban inside Pakistan and those forces facing the United States inside Afghanistan as well. But anyway, what's going on right now is these demonstrations, and they've turned out to have some legs. These have been going on for a couple weeks now. It started in Lahore, demonstrations, and they've since moved to Islamabad, the capital. And events have gotten kind of dramatic. They stormed the private residence of Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, whom they're calling for his resignation. And 3 were killed and 400 wounded in this move to Islamabad. And a TV station's also been stormed. And there's also 14 killed in Lahore. So we're getting a little body count now, but that is not necessarily a dramatic event in Pakistan to have these deaths. The fact that there hasn't been more is more surprising. But now, after the May election, which was the first time in Pakistan history that one democratically elected government was passed on to another since their birth in 1947. And now the opposition is saying that the general election last May was rigged, although generally speaking the consensus seems to be that the election was fair. It was the third time Nawaz Sharif was prime minister. Ironically, he was overthrown in 1999 by a military coup run by Musharraf, and that's one of the sticking points now between Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and the Pakistani militaries, because he wants to pursue treason charges against Musharraf, and that kind of rubs him the wrong way. But he has a general agenda that rubs the military the wrong way in some respects. But I'll get to that. Let's get back to the story. Apparently, the protests have settled into Islamabad in the red zone in the middle of the city, in front of Parliament, and will continue on as we see now. And one of the things that was rather intriguing is some of the calls for resignation and even calls for revolution are from this Islamic scholar, and he was a losing candidate and spends most of his time living in Canada. So that makes it very suspect. I have to confess I haven't really done any research on this Islamic scholar, but I want to find out more, because just the fact that he resides in Canada and now finds himself fanning opposition in Pakistan smells kind of funny. And I wouldn't be surprised if we have an agent provocateur to destabilize in Pakistan. And it might seem counterintuitive to suggest a situation where the United States would want to get involved in destabilizing Pakistan for the reasons I mentioned. before. Very dangerous country. But as it turns out, the United States has a very complete contingency plans for the commandeering of nuclear weapons in Pakistan should there be any calamity in Pakistan. And that seems to make a lot of sense because people are concerned about an Iranian nuclear program, and yet we have a situation in Pakistan that is far more imminently dangerous than Iran working on a nuclear program. So very suspect. So more on that later. If anybody has any information or attachments to give me, please leave them in the comments. But to go back to this reason why this Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has a rocky relationship with the Pakistan military. And the Pakistan military apparently is somewhat supportive of these protests at this point. The fact that they haven't done anything says something. And they will continue to keep their eye on this because they're certainly used to seeing a lot of turmoil and a lot of violence in Pakistan, especially during these election cycles. But Nawaz Sharif is pursuing treason charges against Musharraf, as I mentioned, who is a longtime military man, and therefore the military has its connections with him. The trials that have gone on so far have been fine, but they don't want him pursued any further. And then he wants to make Sharif wants to make peace with India. And that's another problem with the cash cow for the Pakistan military is the standoff with India, and that's what helps justify their jobs in a massive military in Pakistan, and that's true all over the world. And then he also wants to make some peace negotiations with the Taliban, and once again, it's complicated because we have elements in Pakistani intelligence and military who have tight relationships with members of the Taliban, or at least support them, and then others who do not. So this could cause problems either way. And then at the same time, of course, we have Sharif as part of launching this counteroffensive against the Taliban and militants in northern Waziristan. Inside Pakistan, and so with all these events going on, we'll see if this has any legs, or if we see what is probably the most predictable, that the Pakistani government will be reshuffled again. The military will either install a technocrat, or the military will take over, and we'll just be back where we started. But like I say, nothing too outrageous right now, but always a good idea to see if this leads to more, and if we could see even more dramatic events in Pakistan, something we don't want. I'm a useful idiot, don't you be one too?